was denied in the Alexandra Magistrates Court in August. The 61-year-old was arrested last month in connection with the murder of DJ Sambodi, whose real name was Oupa Sifuka. He was later also charged with the murder of Hector Buthelezi, who was known as DJ Ventus. Molefe also faces separate charges in connection with the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Khomotso Modise reports.
Judge Brad Wanless has overturned a judgment by the Alexandra Magistrates Court which found that Gadiso K.T. Molefe failed to prove exceptional circumstances that warrant his release on bail. He's ruled that there must be a basis for Molefe's bail to be denied, agreeing with his lawyers that the Magistrates Court erred. But Molefe's release comes with some stringent conditions.
The appellant is to report to the Morningside Police Station on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. The appellant _S appellant's passport shall remain in the possession of the investigating officer, and the appellant is not permitted to apply for any travel documents until the finalization of the trial.
Molefe has also been restricted to the Gauteng province and can only travel to Valcom in the Free State for business. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Johannesburg High Court.
Let's stay in the courts. The Johannesburg High Court has ruled that a recent raid at City Power's headquarters by the Hawks was unlawful. City Power approached the court on an urgent basis this week, seeking to have the operation set aside. The entity argued that the search warrant used by the Hawks to conduct the raid was defective. Last month, the Hawks carried out a search and seizure operation at City Power's headquarters as part of an investigation into a 64 million rand contract for the supply of electricity transformers. We shift our focus to this now. National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola says he does not think that KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi overreached when he held his explosive media briefing in July. Masemola says he does not see anything wrong with what Mkhwanazi did. He is answering questions from MPs at Parliament's ad hoc committee inquiry, which is probing allegations of police corruption. The committee was established to look into allegations of infiltration in the criminal justice system. In the allegations, Mkhwanazi implicated several high-ranking officials and alleged underworld figures. Masemola says he was informed that a briefing would take place.
I think, he did what he did, so I don't see anything wrong with it. Because the provincial commissioner can do press briefing in his province, and he can. And he did tell me that he's going to talk about the political Killing Stars team, give their successes. And when he went beyond that, so I don't have a problem with that.
To the Eastern Cape now, university umbrella body Universities South Africa has condemned acts of violence which have been playing out at the University of Fort Hare. Students have been protesting at the institution, resulting in a suspension of all academic activity. The Administrative and Student Affairs building at the main campus was set alight, while several other blocks were also petrol bombed. The demonstrations were triggered by student calls for the resignation of Vice-Chancellor Sakela Buhlungu. They have accused Buhlungu of mismanagement and altering SRC governance regulations. USAF spokesperson Mateboho Green says there can be no justification for acts of violence.
The board feels that no level of students' emotional distress or dissatisfaction, however deeply felt, can ever justify the torching of university infrastructure. They see the destruction of the 4 buildings as an act of self-sabotage. Selfish, short-sighted and deeply harmful to the very communities that these 4 structures were built to serve.
And Venezuelan opposition leader and pro-democracy campaigner Maria Corina Machado has won the Nobel Peace Prize. The committee says it chose her due to her tireless work in promoting democratic rights. She has been living in hiding for the past year now, following threats on her life over an election result dispute. Last year, President Nicolas Maduro claimed a 3rd term in power despite exit polls pointing to a decisive opposition win. Machado disputed the result, continuing to call for the will of the people to be respected. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee has hailed her as one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in Latin America in the recent times. Gold is trading at $4,002.20 an ounce. The rand is at 17.24 to the dollar, 22.91 to the pound, 19.96 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.87 a barrel.
Calvin heading towards Midrand. That's leaving Alex. There's slow-moving traffic. This is due to roadworks N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Butlu interchange. Also in Edenvale heading towards Bedfordview, there's slow-moving traffic on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange, and traveling towards the Joburg CBD. We still have roadworks causing heavy delays. This is the M1 northbound between Boysons Road and the Crown interchange.
It's a cloudy Friday afternoon in Gauteng with showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, alleged crime kingpin Katiso KT Molefe has been granted 400,000 rand bail by the Johannesburg High Court.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 1 o'clock. Happy Friday! Welcome 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. I'm so happy it's Friday, but also it's my mom's birthday. She turns 71 today. Happy birthday, Mama. Absolutely love and adore you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. After my son and I sang happy birthday to my mom, he cried when we got to Una 70 and he said yes. And I said, no, it's 71. He even cried till crutch. So, Mama, you're 70 again this year for the sake of peace in our land. Coming up on the show today, food feature. We are joined by Four Seasons Hotel that is in Westcliff. We are joined by executive pastry chef Nathan Jacobs. We're going to be talking about something very special that they are doing. If you have a sweet tooth, if you have a sweet tooth, trust me, this is definitely for you. Unplugged on 7:02 afternoons, we are joined not by one star, but two superstars, Jesse Clegg and Msaki, coming through to perform for us. And then the upside of failure in the second hour of the show. It really is a hot show today. We are going to be joined by chef and culinary innovator. Also has his own cooking shows, Chef Kakeho Mlambo. Get in touch with us. It's going to be a fantastic show. 011 8830702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. 702
Food feature.
The 702 food feature is brought to you by FNB Premier. Switch, spend and win with FNB Premier till the 30th of November. Now, in our food feature for today, we're joined by the very fancy Four Seasons Hotel in Westcliff, and executive pastry chef Nathan Jacobs is here with us. 011 8830702 and the WhatsApp line 072702 1702. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Firstly, I have to say, you are putting me down a very dangerous path of becoming a sweet tooth person with what you did today. And I'm concerned. But before we talk about that, what role has food played in your life from, let's even talk from when you were a kid?
So when I was a kid, I obviously grew up in my mom and dad loved cooking. cook potjie course and all these different types of things. And the reason I fell in love with pastry is we were in this potjie course competition, and we had to make a cake on the coals. And that just kind of was mind-blowing for me. Like, how do you do that, And that's kind of where my love for food came from.
And in terms of the kind of food that was in your space at the time when you were a kid growing up, because we know obviously that food is such a nostalgic, a memory building, a love language. It is so many things. When did it start to become that serious for you outside of that experience? I mean, share some memories with us of certain kinds of foods that you've just enjoyed and that have influenced your decision to be in this business.
So it's a lot of South African food. So things like milk tart, things like, peppermint crisp tart. Those were, when I was a kid, I had a big sweet tooth. As an adult, not so much, It's just, I love making all these things, but I just taste it. I don't really, eat a lot of it. So those are the things that I liked eating a lot. And,
Let's then talk about your training. When it came time for you to decide, okay, I'm going to be going into this industry, why did you opt for the pastry route?
For the pastry route, for me, it was more precise. Everything needed to be measured out, weighed out. If you're cutting something, it's, you measure it with a ruler. So the preciseness of pastry was kind of what I was drawn to. So I just like that whole, preciseness and of pastry.
So then when you started getting into the school, what were some of the things that surprised you about being a pastry chef that maybe you underestimated?
I think things that I underestimated was just kind of the level, the volumes that we would have to produce in hotels, going for internship programs, the amount of actual hours that you need to stand on your feet. I didn't realize it was like that, but you kind of get used to it as time goes on.
What did you imagine it was going to be like?
You don't really know, until you get into the business. I knew it was going to be hard work because that's what, everybody tells you when you get into the kitchen. But there's high pressure because all the guests that's coming into your hotel or any establishment that you're at, there's a high demand. They're paying good prices. So the expectation is very high. And that's what you need to, there's the pressure is constant.
Tell me about some of the mentors you've had an opportunity to train under. I know many people have such different styles. You can have the Gordon Ramsay attitude or go the Jamie Oliver route, but it obviously does influence how you're going to do things.
Yes, so I was fortunate enough to travel the world a bit. I went to America, spent 5 years there, and worked with a couple of chefs there, which kind of molded me into the chef I am today, or gave me that foundation.
I thought you were going to come back with an accent.
No,
because there's some people that get to the airport and come back with an accent.
Yeah, no. I'll stay true to my roots. And then I've also had the chance to, I've just come back from the UK. I've spent 4 years there. I worked with one of the most famous chefs in the world, Michel Roux Jr. So he trained the likes of Gordon Ramsay, back in the day, before he was famous. So all the chefs I've worked with, they've all played an inspirational role in my life as a chef. And that's what kind of made me the chef I am today.
All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we continue chatting Four Seasons Hotel Westcliff and the yummy food on offer there.
Hollywood Bet Aziz Shege, Beyond the Game is back for the new soccer season. Up for grabs is a share of 4 million rand in prizes, including the Toyota Rumion, Corolla Cross, Hilux 2.4 GD6 DC, and a Starlet Cross. To qualify, bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures for your chance to score big. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
The motor racing event Cape Town has been waiting for is finally here. Get ready for the Speed Classic Cape Town. Over 140 historic cars, race cars and supercars will compete in a full throttle showcase of motion, sound and style. Experience the ultimate speed test as the legends of yesterday meet the icons of tomorrow. The Speed Classic Cape Town takes place on Philip Khosana Drive on October 25th and 26th. Get your tickets at Web Tickets today.
Breathe in. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. In. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. Again. In. Insurance. Out. Pineapple. Again. And again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
In a world shaped by those who build, disrupt, and reimagine, there comes a gathering not just of minds, but of futures. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, is where top entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers converge. It's where the future of enterprise is redefined. On 5 and 6 November, you could be there. Stand a chance to win tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit on 702. WhatsApp the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number, telling us how you would benefit from attending the summit to 072-702-1702. Then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and 702 Drive with John Pullman to find out if you're a winner. The South African Future Trust Summit in partnership with Standard Bank. Your summit, your way on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Food feature.
18 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we continue with our food feature for today. We're chatting Four Seasons Hotel in the West Cliff, and we're joined by executive pastry chef Nathan Jacobs. 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Nathan, I mean, you have had this extensive travel, and being in the US, being in the UK. What would you say is different in terms of the kitchens that you've experienced abroad and how we do things in South Africa, whether it's negative or positive?
So the kitchens are generally the same. It just depends on the people that are at that establishment. So you'll get some people that's a bit more high-strung or, a bit more out there. And then a lot of chefs nowadays are a bit more relaxed because the culture in the kitchen has changed a bit. I think in the old days there were a lot more shouting and so on. These days, not so much.
Why do you think that was like that? Because I don't think, like you said, it's like any workplace where certain things were okay, like the shouting or whatever, and now we're evolved to be like, hey, are you okay? Why are you shouting?
Yeah, I think it's just times have changed, and you're kind of going to have to go with the times that have changed. And besides that, you need to treat people that they want to stay at your business. Because, turnover is very high in any area.
Yes.
So we, at the hotel, we practice or we work a lot on mental wellness for our staff and make sure they're in a good space, so we can perform at optimum level.
And I know you guys could be on your feet for hours and hours, especially you in the pastry side where the prep and the proofing and the baking could require you to be there from 3 a.m. what is the hardest part, would you say, especially where you are in your career? I'm sure there are things previously you thought were hard, but you've kind of adjusted. What is the hardest part of being a pastry chef, but also sort of being the chief in the kitchen?
Again, I think the hardest thing, anywhere in the world is, you have to deal with people. Because you're dealing with all different personalities and different people from different backgrounds. So you kind of have to adjust, to kind of please everybody and try and make everybody happy. So I think that's the toughest part. The cooking is kind of the easiest part, I think. It's making sure that everybody's happy and making sure that everybody's, wanting to be at work. That's the tough part.
Yes, and you're managing human beings. It's a lot, because at the same time, you're also human being yourself. Yes. You also have to human being in your own right. Let's now chat about how you found yourself going to the Four Seasons Hotel and what that journey has been like so far, especially because that hotel is renowned as being like really elite. The standards are extremely high. And was it something that felt intimidating, or were you like, I got this?
So throughout my career, I've always worked at, you can say top establishments.
I like to call them the white tablecloth places, where the tablecloth even has that like pleat on the side.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's intimidating. I think it's a great challenge. The operation's quite big. We're obviously expanding the hotel. So for me, it's more of a challenge, than being intimidating.
Yes, and an exciting one at that.
A very exciting one.
Now that you came back, you obviously, and I will say obviously because I've seen it as a common theme as chefs, you want to use seasonal ingredients that are very South African. Where else did you take your inspiration from outside of that criteria?
So the inspiration comes from a combination of history and modern day involvement in things. So all the food that we create is it's things I used to like as a kid or things that I eat now. So let's say, for example, I eat a Magnum.
Yes.
How can I turn that Magnum into something that we can serve in the restaurant? And that's where the inspiration comes from, and, just kind of always elevating yourself as a chef.
Before we start to chat about the menu and the high tea experience, we've got a voice note on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. Just a quick question for your pastry chef guest today. How does one branch into the overseas market when you're a qualified chef? My son's friend has qualified as a pastry chef, and he did his citizenship with an airline, and he's done now. He's looking for work, and I've always wondered if he could perhaps try work overseas, even if it's like a daily somewhere. But how does one leave South Africa to go find the kind of work that they do? I mean, do you go online, look for jobs, and get hired that way, or you ought to know someone who is in that space overseas who can connect you? Thanks.
I love questions like this. I'm always about let's create opportunities, let's share and plug information, because in your line of work, exposure is everything.
Yes. So I think to travel the world is, when I traveled, I went through an agency when I went to America, and that opens a whole lot of doors for yourself, connecting with people in different areas in the world. And then, so agency is one, and then obviously if you work at a place that has multiple properties all around the world, you obviously need to make a difference at that property that you're at.
Oh,
and you
I
can
got you.
And you can look to transfer overseas.
So if, let's say, it's like a Hilton hotel, because they've got Hiltons all over the world, and then you can have the opportunity to, yes.
So the Four Seasons has hotels all over the world. And
fancy hotels.
Very fancy hotels. Very luxury. So, staff that if you work there for a year or more, you can look to transfer overseas, whether it's to the Maldives or Seychelles or Mauritius, if you like the island lifestyle,
Yes.
or there's more city places that you can go to around the world. So that's also one way of getting overseas.
I would also say, and I just thought about it now, all of your resorts, your all-inclusive resorts, they need tons of chefs. So your Club Meds, all of those all-inclusive resorts, the ones where there's just food 24/7, apply there. Chat to us about the agency thing. So where would a qualified chef go? I didn't even think about the fact that you guys have agents.
So there's agencies that will help you get overseas. So they have connections with properties abroad, and they will help you with your visas. And it depends what type of visa you're going to go for.
Yes.
Sometimes they offer like a H2B, which is 6 months. But I mean, you always want to get your foot in the door. That's the stepping stone, the starting point. And then from there, it's up to you as a chef. How you conduct yourself, how you perform to kind of make it in the industry.
Thank you so much for that question. All right. So let's now chat about what you've introduced, where the jacaranda features as well.
All right. So we're starting an afternoon tea at the hotel, and it's all based on jacaranda. So the colors, all the purple colors. And what we've done was we kept it as close as possible. I mean, we kept it as close to being natural. So things like blackberry, if you mix it with cream, it turns purple, right?
Yes.
So we don't just use a lot of food colors, all these type of things to, just to get that color purple. We use natural ingredients to make it happen. So because that's our ethos, is to cook whole natural foods that's kind of unpretentious, and it is what it is.
You took inspiration from the jacaranda. You then had to look at ingredients that naturally create the color purple, like what you said. So obviously you had your cherries, a lot of cherries, your berries as well. Please share the menu that you served for us today.
Okay, so from the sweet part of it, we did a take on a black forest. So it's a flourless chocolate cake with a cherry mousse and vanilla. Then we've done a vacherin, which is ultimately just a meringue. And we've paired it with blackcurrant and white chocolate. And then we've done a lemon tart with blueberries.
Okay, so this jacaranda afternoon tea happens Fridays to Sundays, 12 to 3 p.m., 650 Rand a person. What are some of the other things that people can look forward to at this afternoon tea? And I'm assuming that tea is not the only thing you serve to drink.
Yes, so we do, there's champagne. There's obviously a bunch of other different drinks to have with afternoon tea.
I'm seeing a lot of zeros here with the champagne. I don't know if it's my eyes. I need glasses.
Yeah, we only offer the best. So.
And of course, you guys have cocktails.
Yes.
I love this. Violet Days, which is what is a verdant? The Inverroche verdant. Is it a gin? I'm guessing it's a gin. But everything is fully jacaranda, including into the cocktails. You even have tea pairings, which I think is just so brilliant. So your black tea, breakfast tea, you've got marula strawberry rooibos, zesty chai, honey bush rooibos, spicy moringa herbal infusions, and then delicious savory treats. Do you and the main chef that does the savory parts, do you guys have to be aligned with what you're doing? Do you kind of look at what the executive chef is doing and say, that looks really heavy, let me maybe add a sorbet, or you're like, that looks like, how do you work together?
Yeah, so we collaborate obviously to make sure that the whole offering balances out, from the start till the end. Because normally you'll eat your savories first. So you don't want it to be heavy and, you don't want to be too full and crawl out of the place. You want to make sure that you're full enough. So it's a well-balanced menu, very light ingredients. When it comes to the sweet part, we make sure that it's not too sweet and rich. We don't want to overwhelm anybody in terms of like being
too much.
It's being sickly.
Yes.
But so it's well-balanced menu, and with the two of us work together very well, Chef Rudy.
And if you're worried that you're only going to get egg mayo or cucumber sandwiches, don't be. They also have your beef short rib that comes with leguina or vetkoek. They also have a mushroom empanada. So there are so many options that are there for you. Chef, thank you so much for coming through.
Appreciate it.
You should come more often, I say, and then bring the cocktails our way.
Or you can join us at the Four Seasons.
We are coming. It's 1:30.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Evidence leaders from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will make an application to have their next witness testify in a closed session. The team does not want the media and members of the public allowed during the testimony of its next witness. The commission will be resuming on Monday without crime intelligence boss Dumsani Khumalo, who recently fell ill. Alleged crime kingpin Katiso KT Molefe has been granted 400,000 Rand bail by the Johannesburg High Court. Molefe approached the High Court after bail was denied in the Alexandra Magistrates Court in August. The 61-year-old was arrested in connection with the murder of DJ Sambodi, whose real name was Oupa Sifuka. And still in the Joburg High Court, the court has ruled that a recent raid at the City Power's headquarters by the Hawks was unlawful. City Power approached the court on an urgent basis this week, seeking to have the operation set aside. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards, this is heading towards Midrand, leaving Alex. We still have bumper-to-bumper traffic, N3 northbound